Now the American Claire Messud.
Merci Marie-André. Thank you, everybody. It's wonderful to be here. It will seem ironic when I say what I have to say that I'm saying it looking at my phone, but it's the first time I've ever done this. Anyway, oddly enough, I've been thinking a lot about time the past few years, and about the fact that our conceptions of time shape our lives, and that those conceptions are culturally and chronologically determined. They are an a priori structure that we often don't consider. When I was in middle school in Toronto at UTS, we had as a history project to write about a Canadian inventor. My Canadian inventor was Sir Sandford Fleming, railway magnate and inventor of time zones in the 1870s. I didn't think about him very much, to be honest, for the next 45 years. But like a large ship, he hoved back into my consciousness a couple of years ago as I embarked with a physicist friend on a course for Harvard undergraduates on the subject of time. Because, of course, before Sir Sandford Fleming and then the International Meridian Conference of 1884, there was no such thing as global standard time. From one coast to the other on this continent alone, a train might pass through more than 100 local time zones, highly inconvenient for the advance of global movement and trade. And it's no mistake that Sir Sandford Fleming was a railway magnate, and the importance of the time zones was for that purpose. At that 1884 conference held in Washington, D.C., it was agreed that Greenwich, England would be the epicenter, the meridian, and Greenwich Mean Time, the measure by which everyone around the world would set their clocks. Il faut reconnaître que les Français n'étaient pas du tout d'accord, que les Français ont franchement résisté. Ils avaient imposé leur propre fuseau horaire pour la France entière en 1826, bien avant les autres. Ils n'avaient aucune envie de s'adapter pour plaire aux Anglais. Ils ont gardé leur indépendance horaire 27 ans et n'ont accédé à cette imposition affreusement britannique qu'en 1911. Et penser que l'agent secret, The Secret Agent, le roman de 1907 de Joseph Conrad's novel The Secret Agent, qui raconte l'histoire d'une attaque terroriste ratée sur l'observatoire de Greenwich, était basé sur un fait réel. En 1894, un jeune anarchiste français, Martial Bourdin, a essayé de faire sauter une bombe à Greenwich et n'a réussi qu'à se suicider. Pourquoi je vous raconte tout cela? Why do I tell you all this? Because we have latterly passed into a new era with regard to our dominion over time, or its dominion over us. Back then, many, not only French people, balked at the imperial control of their clocks. If you try to imagine how strange it must have seemed to be in Jamaica, with the sense that Greenwich was the source of your time. We, little over a century later, seem all too readily to have ceded ultimate control over time and over our time itself to our digital masters, the broligarchy, avid for the people's total attention, and it has surely become clear, subjugation. The iPhone, the Apple Watch, the Google Meet, the global synchronization of time to the atomic instant, these platforms control and imprison us all, to which resistance is essential if we are to survive as individuals and societies. And I think I'm really just echoing what Simon was saying earlier. And resistance lies precisely in a return to the time of the page, or still further, to the time of the tree. To read on paper, reading an actual book, is to hold time in your hands on your own terms, to travel through time, perhaps in the text, but also in the reading, to start and stop at volition, to flip backward or forward through the text, to allow the mind to wander and associate in a type of timelessness, to create for each of us an entirely personal path, un chemin entièrement personnel à travers chaque livre, a renunciation of control that paradoxically returns control to our own minds and selves. We can, of course, also lie beneath actual trees and experience an analogous but different timelessness. And we can read Peter's book about trees while lying under trees and communing with them. My point is simply this. The familiar adage that the imagination is free, l'imagination est libre, And that to regain our time in all its meanings, we don't need to be Martial Bourdin. We don't need to set any bombs and blow ourselves up in the process. Nous n'avons qu'à déposer nos appareils, nous n'avons qu'à nous détourner de la précision exigeante de l'horloge atomique et ainsi de nous libérer. Nous n'avons rien à perdre sauf nos chaînes et tout le temps à gagner. We have nothing to lose but our chains and all time to gain.
Thank you. Merci. Merci Claire. Merci.